What is going on today, guys? So today, I've got an awesome video for you. As you could see in the title, I'm going over and ranking the best budget cards at every position. I am very no money spent friendly on this channel, and if you like no money spent grinds and things of that nature, please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to build this thing up a little bit, but yes, I do have a God Squad because I grind this game a lot. But if you're trying to spend the cheapest or do the least amount of grinding to obtain a team, I'm going to go over some cards that fit that description. Kind of like the team I have out here right now. This team is under probably 200,000 stubs. And I mean, it looks pretty good. It might not even come to that 200,000 stubs. On top of that, it's probably a couple of good days put in grinding the game away from the entire thing being free. You could win some games online with this team. You could make World Series with this team, and I know that for certain. These are some incredible cards, but let's waste no time. Let's hop into the rankings. And I did not leave out catcher in today's video. I know what I did yesterday. I'm sorry. All right, and starting off, just so I don't forget it this time, we're starting at catcher. So with this list, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it really quick, really short, super sweet, to the point. With this list, I'm only gonna be doing 3 per position because I don't feel the need to give you 5 options like I did yesterday. Yesterday, it was going over the God Squad options. So there's so many viable options. Well, obviously in a game that's built like this, there's going to be less no money spent in budget options, although this is the most no money spent in budget friendly game. So that might sound like a contradictory statement, but if you don't want to spend 25 hours or 200,000 stubs, these are going to be the best cards that you can use for that kind of a description. But starting off, we got Blake Mitchell. This is budget Joe Mauer. His deficiencies are really just his clutch, but defense is solid, speed solid enough, really good arm behind the plate, no quirks, which does kind of hurt. But Blake Mitchell, you can throw him out there and he's going to do really, really solid. Overall, I mean, all his stats they play, his swing is really good. Moving into the number 2 spot at catcher, we're going to have one that I heavily debated putting number 1. And I'll say this now, while you guys are still listening and paying attention. I am going to try and limit this to mostly set 3 guys so we can move forward and it's going to be more in tune with what we're going to be using heading forward. But some of these set 2 guys are so good that I just couldn't leave them off. So our number 1 spot is going to be a set 2 guy. But at number 2, we got Gary Sanchez. He doesn't have any quirks, as you could see, but he's about the best hitting catcher in the game besides Adley Rutschman. Incredible power, good clutch, his contact's above 100 on both sides. I don't know if I really used this card online. No, I haven't, but I've used Gary Sanchez cards in the past. You put the bat on the ball with Gary Sanchez and the ball leaves the stadium. I mean, that's what you want. Catcher is a position where you need some power guys. Gary Sanchez, he fits that description, but I don't think he's as good as the number 1 spot. I will say this, talking about the number 1 spot, if you really, really don't care about defense, Kyle Schwarber is also a good one to fit into that description. Also, probably should have mentioned it earlier, what I consider budget is under 30,000 stubs for the card. Because 30,000 stubs is, if you're someone who spends money, super cheap, or if you're someone who doesn't spend money, it's just a few hours on the game, grinding out, and you're going to have 80 to 100,000 stubs. It's really not hard to make stubs in this game. But with my number 1 budget catcher option, we got Mike Napoli. Going over his quirks, he's got about all of them. One of the best swings in the game. He is a push hitter, so he's not a pull hitter. So his away timing windows are more forgiving than most cards, but his inside timing windows are less forgiving than most cards. But once you get used to Napoli, I promise he will be one of the best hitting catchers in the game. Going over my personal stats with him as I've parallel 5'd the card. Not slugging as good as I would want to, but this card, he just gets on base. There's something about him. He just knows how to get on base. As you can see, I'm batting about 400 with him. Napoli's really, really good. I'm telling y'all, if you did anything for Team Affinity 2 and you've got him laying around, throw him in the lineup. He's a really, really good card. Eventually, we're going to get a 99 Napoli, and that's going to be the best catcher in the game. I don't care about you Adley stands. Adley's got a good swing. Not as good as Napoli's, in my opinion. Napoli, I still throw him into the God Squad to this day. That's how overpowering he is. He really is good. But let's move on to first base. All right, moving on to first base. So going into this is going to be a card that you get out of the Team Affinity set collection, and he's one of the first ones that you get. He's not as low as Luis Arias, but it doesn't take a ton of grinding as it does for, say, Jose Ramirez and Corbin Carroll, which I left Corbin Carroll off the list because I understand how much of a burnout it is grinding Team Affinity. I couldn't resist leaving or not putting J-Ram on the list, so he is on here. You can take your wild guess at what spot he ranked at. But back to Matt Olson. Quirks, he's got some good ones. Unfazed is a great quirk to have in this game. Table setter as well is a really good one. There's only one thing that I find as a weakness on this card, and it's the fact that he has that contact versus left deficiency. But I think if you're running on a budget, you can have a good right-handed first baseman and a good left-handed first baseman, because your bench, you're going to want to put in some very, meticulously picked out budget like platoon cards. So I think Matt Olson still deserves a spot on the list. I don't think he's as good as number 2 or the tie that I have at number 1, but Matt Olson is really, really good. One of the best swings in the game. He plays, I promise you he plays. I've been using him a little bit. We're batting 417 with him, so not the craziest, but not too bad. I really like Matt Olson. Now, moving on to number 2, we're dropping it down in overall, and we're going back to a 97. Carlos Santana, Slamtana. He's only got one quirk. I don't know what it is with this card. I was sleeping on it at first. Online, we're batting 500. Offline, we're batting 627. I used him all the way through the Extreme Conquest. And I know that's not the hardest thing in the world, but I mean, if you bat 600 with a card online on All-Star and Hall of Fame, you got to understand that that's going to be 350 to 400 online as well. So it shows you how good the card actually is. And Carlos Santana, if you're on a budget, 10,000 stub buy order, he's one of the best first basemen. He's one of the best catchers. I wouldn't put him at third, but at catcher, he does fine. His blocking's pretty solid. I really love this Santana card, and I'm upset that I didn't use him sooner. The 95 I wasn't good with, but that one I should have used sooner. Moving into the number 1 spot is somebody that could be either free or 15,000 stubs. That's Buck O'Neil, and this is a tie for first, and I'm going to have to pull it over to another position because we have a secondary position guy, which I tried to limit the secondary positions, but it's just, in this circumstance, there's a guy who plays first base as well. He's got a big, he's got a big thing down there. You might know who I'm talking about at this point, but Buck O'Neil would be the best primary first baseman when it comes to defense, speed, hitting. He's got perfect contact, power plays, swing is really solid. Give Buck O'Neil a shot. He's cheap. He's super cheap. It's not going to hurt you. You can sell him back and buy the tie for number 1, who's going to be in center field. It's Jock Pederson. Jock Pederson he's just incredible. I mean, he's absolutely incredible. There's not a lot I can say about him. He's got some good quirks because he's got bad ball hitter and dead red. Now, he's also got pinch hitter. So a logical solution that you could have is you could have Jock and you could have Buck O'Neil. Platoon swap them depending on who you're going up against. If you got both of those guys and you feel more comfortable hitting righty-lefty opposed to lefty-lefty or righty-righty, bring in Jock. Figure out what you like to do and have the ability to platoon these guys, because I promise it's going to be a huge advantage. This year, we do not need the bench as much as we did last year since we have the DH option. So it's truly, truly beneficial to have situations like that. I could, display this in a gameplay if you guys would be interested about that. Using a budget in team and doing a lot of platoon swapping. I don't typically do that because I'm comfortable hitting lefty-lefty and I'm comfortable hitting righty-righty. And I'm obviously comfortable on either side. But we talk about Jock Pederson a little bit. Max power, max clutch, max discipline, which I think affects check swings, but isn't the end-all be-all. He's got good vision, 100 plus on all his contact, and he's going to be one of the better defenders at first base. He's not going to be a diamond defender at first, but he's going to be a gold, and I think you can parallel him up and get him to a diamond. He's really good. And he didn't earn the name Big Cock Jock for no reason. This boy hits nukes. That's all he does. He comes up to the plate and he hits bombs. I promise, Trout Jock Pederson, one of the best swings in the game. You will love him. Absolutely love him. 15,000 stubs in the market right now, and you can have yourself a Jock Pederson. Moving on to second base. So who do we have at the bottom? We got Jorge Polanco. So this is a card that's going to be going away in a little bit, but he's got some good quirks. Situational hitter, dead red. Dead red is just the big one that you want on your guys, because when you come up to the plate, you want to be fastball hunt. This is a guy who's going to see a fastball and he's going to drill the shit out of it. And I promise you that. He's got one of the best switch hitting swings in the entire game. And he's not expensive. He's 18,000 stubs on the market. Defensively, he's going to give you enough at second base. Second base is not a position where you need 99 everything on defense. But when you're working on a God squad, it's beneficial to have just perfect everything. But Polanco is going to have 100 plus on his contacts, 124 clutch. You can max that out at P2. Yeah, P2, because he starts out at 123. He's got 94, 95, and 91 on his power. But using Polanco's swing, that's actually 115 and 111. So just keep that in mind, because he gets like a plus 20 jump because of how good his swing is. Polanco is very, very good. Moving on, though, I'm going to bring up one card. I don't know. It's all hit or miss. It just depends on who you are. Jonathan Schoop, I really, really like him. He doesn't have any quirks, but I mean, these are CPU stats, but batting 682. He's got a good swing. He's got a really nice swing. He's got a beefy player build, so he actually plays pretty solid at second base. I've noticed that with a few guys, when they're a little bit bigger, they play better in the infield. Like Justin Turner plays a really good glove at third base, and he's a bigger guy. But moving into Jonathan Schoop, he's not like on the list, but you could put him right there with Polanco. If you don't want to buy the card, you can get him entirely free. So that's a good benefit to this. The reason I don't have him on here like I would Polanco is Polanco just has the versatility of being a switch hitter, and he's about as good defensively. I know statistically it shows up better on Schoop, but they play very similarly. Polanco plays fine at second base because we use common defense Polanco and BR, and he plays fine there too. But Jonathan Schoop, 109, 119, 97, 111, 116 clutch. He's really good. I promise you, give the card a whirl. He's very, very good. Moving into the number 2 spot, though, we've got a program path card. SDS absolutely knocked it out of the park when it came to these program path cards this time, and I can only hope for the exact same result when it comes down to set 4. Going over quirks, it's got breaking ball hitter, situational hitter. Breaking ball hitter is a good one to have, and let me tell you, when somebody throws you a breaking ball to Marcus Semien, he's going to smash the shit out of it, and you're going to be confused because this no doubt animation makes you be like, what the fuck, did I just hit a home run? Yes, you did. I promise you did. Because it's Marcus Semien. He's going to be your best defensive option that you're going to be able to obtain, I think, in general when it comes to second base. And he's got good speed, not great, but really, really good speed. Makes the durability team, so if, you know, you're watching this and you're like, maybe I want to test out a budget guy, but I do have the Cal Ripken captain. He does make the durability team, which is a huge, huge, huge added benefit of him. But he's got max clutch. He's got 91, 104 on his powers, left and right. And then he's got 116, 113. His contact is plenty enough. You can use this card on Legend and you're not going to have any issues. You can use them on Hall of Fame, you're especially not. And then, of course, All-Star, you're going to have no problems using really anyone. But moving into the number 1 spot. So I did not include Extreme Griffey. I did not include Extreme Piazza because, well, Piazza's a shitter. But I didn't include Extreme Billy Wagner. And I did not include Extreme Matt Cain because they're so far into the program. Not a lot of people are going to want to grind for them. But Ketel Marte, 3 moments, which are the Blue Jays comeback, the 2 pitching moments, and then you have Ketel Marte. I'm including him, and he is going to be the best budget second baseman you can obtain in this game, and it's not even close because he's also the best second baseman you can obtain in this game when it comes to primary positions. Because I'm trying to keep all these primary positions, but first base, again, I went over this yesterday in yesterday's video. First base just happens to be a position to where you're going to want to be able to use secondary guys because it's just a weak position for whatever reason. We're going to get better first basemen when it comes down to it eventually, but right now first base is just weak other than secondary position guys. But moving on to Ketel Marte before, you know, I start rambling and ranting all about the other shit. 118, 122, 103, 105. Outstanding hitting stats. I was using him in the Conquest, batting about 400 with him there. I was using, again, Hall of Fame legend, that kind of a thing. Maxed out clutch. Defense is all great. Ketel Marte, knock out the easy moments that there is to do and get yourself a Ketel Marte. It's going to be worth it. He's the best second baseman in the game. And on top of that, coming into a budget list, he's the best second baseman on the budget list because he's free. I don't know what you're doing if you're not using Ketel Marte. You gotta get it. His swing's very good and he's a switch hitter. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this card. This is an almost perfect card. It is this close to being a perfect card. All right, as we move over to third base. So I had a lot of thinking that went into this. Doesn't have any quirks about who I was going to list as the guy for third base. And it's Kris Bryant. So I'm batting almost 900 offline All-Star Plus with this card. His swing's beautiful. I mean, that's just all I can say about this card. And he's got so much versatility. If you're running a budget squad, you have no excuse to not have this card on your bench because he's free out of NL Central Season 3 Team Affinity. He's got incredible power. He has 2 deficiencies on the entire card because his speed and his defense, they both play. His contact versus lefties, which is serviceable enough when you have a swing that plays that well, and his vision. That's all that's wrong with this card and holding it back from being like one of the top third basemen in the entire game. Now we're going to get an MVP edition Kris Bryant or whatever award series they come out with every year. Forgive me, I am very tired right now. It could totally be a different award series than MVP. My brain's slipping up right now. But we always get some form of award series Kris Bryant, and it's really, really good. So eventually we will be able to enjoy the fact of having a 99 Kris Bryant. But for now, I promise you, this one's not going to do you bad. He's very, very good, and he's free. That's the biggest thing you can say about some of these cards is that they're free. Moving into the number 2 spot, like I said, I was going to try and leave off as many of the set 2 guys as I could. But when it just comes down to it, Josh Donaldson. I was thinking of the pitcher. Again, like I said, I'm very tired, but I'm trying to pump this video out for you guys because I think it's a fun thing and it keeps our upload streak alive. But moving into Josh Donaldson, he's an incredible defender. Gets great defensive animations. I'm batting 400 online with him. I haven't used him much online, but I'm batting 400 online with him. So that speaks to it. And he's got incredible hitting stats. Like I said, no quirks. He's about 20,000 stubs in the market. He's going to be one of the best hitting cards in the game in general, whether you consider budget or not. He's one of the best hitters, no matter how you shake it. Love this Josh Donaldson card, and I can't wait till we get another one. Moving on to the number 1 spot, though, we've got Jose Ramirez. I can't hold him out of the number 1 spot. He is in the Team Affinity Set 3 collection, and he does take a good bit of grinding. I'm not going to lie to you. It takes a lot of time to get a hold of this card. And I know it's hard to go down to the technicalities, because when you go down to that, I could have Acuna on this list, Adley on this list, Martin DeHigo, Randy fucking Johnson, David Wright. I could have all those guys on the list, but I don't, because that is way more grinding, or cards you're going to have to buy and lock in to obtain them. The JRAM is a smooth, clear-cut grind. It's just, it takes a while. But after you play the game, you do all your offline stuff, you're going to be able to get towards the point where you get this Jose Ramirez if you don't already have him. And he's going to be the best budget option I can give you at third base, because he is the second best third baseman in the game. Other than Chipper Jones, JRAM's right there as one of the best cards in the entire game. Going over quirks, He's got about every hitting quirk. He's got bad ball hitter, breaking ball hitter, first pitch hitter, situational hitter. He's got good quirks. Stats wise, he's statted out the ass. The only thing that I think could be better is his contact versus lefties and his clutch. But at that point, I'm just nitpicking the card because it's that good. Like, yes, I'd like it to be better, but it's really not necessary because of how good the card actually is. So let's go ahead and move into the outfield. All right, so moving into shortstop, I know I just said outfield before I cut over. I don't know if I cut that out of the video. We'll find out when I upload it. But moving into shortstop, this is somebody who can play in the outfield. That'd be Trea Turner. So he's got a bunch of quirks. He's got table setter, which is the one I'm blocking with the camera right now. He's got dead red, fighter, night player, which a lot of us play at night. So, you know, sometimes that helps a little bit. 99 speed, as you can see above me. He's got 125 clutch. He's got solid enough vision at 80, 125, 111 on his contacts, 84, 92 on his power. And Trea Turner has one of the sweetest, most beautiful swings. Why is he ranked below the other shortstops that I'm going to talk about? There's only 2 others. It's just because I don't really view him as a shortstop. He's a center fielder, in my opinion, or a second baseman. But I can't deny the fact that if you don't have anywhere to put him and you put him at shortstop, he's going to be one of the best. There's no denying that. He is going to be one of the best. He's going to play okay defense. I'd like a little bit more arm strength, but Trea Turner's good. And he's free. NL East, Season 3 Team Affinity. Not a super hard grind to obtain him. Moving on, though, we've got our number 2 guy, and he doesn't have quirks at all, but he's 17,000 stubs on the market. As you can see, I have parallel 5 the card. Going over stats with him, I'm batting 387, 37 home runs. Jackson Holliday's filthy. He's really good. 123, 107, 114, 95, 97 vision, 118 clutch, 95 speed, incredible defense around the board. Jackson Holliday is very, very good. He's a card that I've heard some people have a hard time getting used to, but it's one of those cards when you get used to it, you're used to it, and you're gonna be smacking the ball. But he is not my number 1 budget option. It's not Jackie Robinson either, although considering it's just Jackie, you grind up to 120 cards. I think he's one of the best budget cards in the entire game. It's just you have to grind quite a bit to obtain him, and this is somebody you can plug and play into the game as the number 1 spot for my shortstop position. I think he's good at others. It's Jacob Wilson. So Jacob Wilson, I've been using him a little bit. 462, 4 home runs, offline 511. He's got good speed, great contact, great clutch, mid 80s power, which I promise you, using this card, whatever swing they gave him, mid 80s power is more than enough. Jacob Wilson is one of the best cards in the game, in my opinion, but I'm not going to rank him up there with, you know, the big boys when I'm going over videos like that, because people are going to be like, what the hell? But in my personal opinion, he's one of the best cards in the entire game. He's so good. I don't understand why they made this random 17,000 stub, or 14,000 if you put in an order, card as good as he is, but I promise Jacob Wilson is one of the best in this game. I will never be able to just fully explain what it is. Maybe it's just something with me and him fitting the timing that I typically sit on, but I don't strike out with the card. I hit home runs with the card. He's good enough defensively. I mean, this is budget but slower Derek Jeter. That's all he is, in my opinion. But he feels like he has a better swing than Jeter, even though he doesn't have quirks. Jacob Wilson's incredible. If you haven't tried this card out and you're on a budget, do yourself a favor, throw him in the lineup. Try him out. He's really good. Plus, on top of that, you don't even have to start the guy. Put him on the bench. Look at all the positions he plays. Short, full infield other than first, full outfield other than center. He can play everywhere. Try him out. All right, moving on to the outfield. So we got left field. This is one of my favorite cards in the game. It's Tim Raines. I'm only batting 321 with him. Batting better offline, but who cares? Tim Raines is a switch hitting Lou Brock. That's what he is. Like I said, I was going to try and limit the set 2 guys that were on this list. But Tim Raines, he deserves a spot, because if you grinded out Team Affinity in Season 2, you have this card sitting in your inventory. He has all the best hitting quirks, other than breaking ball hitter, but him not having breaking ball hitter is not the end of the world. That's just the only notable hitting quirk where I'm like, he doesn't have that. As you can see with his power numbers, you'd be like, I don't know that Tim Raines is that good. Oh, he is. He hits the ball really hard. 99 speed, perfect defense. Well, not perfect defense. I'd be lying. I'm tired again. I'm sorry. I looked at the 89, thought it said 99. Really good defense. And for whatever reason, we had this ongoing joke in my Twitch streams when I was using this card. He's the fastest man on earth in this game because where he's like shorter, he tracks down everything. If you're looking for defense only, I mean, obviously you want a defense and then a serviceable bat, Tim Raines is your guy. Like, I promise you, he's very good. His contact's very solid. The power, because of his swing, actually plays. His clutch is good enough, and he's got good vision. Moving on, though, we're going to go over a tie spot because these guys are platoon. We got Christian Yelich. So he's not the greatest defender, but he's got serviceable speed, couple of parallels, get him up a little bit. He'll be doing all right. I apparently really haven't used him online, but I used the last Christian Yelich. It's the same swing. Only issue with this card is his contact versus left. That's the only problem with this card because Christian Yelich has one of the best swings in the entire game. And then tie for the 2 spot, we got Ezekiel Duran. This is somebody that I would just have no matter what. I don't care if you have a God squad or you have a budget squad. Stick this guy on the bench. Doesn't have any quirks. Did Yelich have any quirks? He's got fighter. Nothing special. But Duran doesn't have any quirks. He's an absolute lefty killer. He's good enough against righties because his swing plays. 99 arm, great speed. Defensively, he's going to be good at every single position he can play. But if you want to just stick him in his primary position and use him, Ezekiel Duran is going to come out to being one of the best budget left fielders in the entire game. I love this Duran card. He won't do you wrong. I promise you that. And then at the number 1 spot, this is a position group in left field where I feel like there's a bunch of lower power end guys that are just better than the guys with high power. And that's totally true when you're talking about Starling Marte. Starling Marte's got dead red, table setter, pinch hitter. He's got some serviceable quirks. He's got 113 clutch, 119 contact versus righties, 113 versus lefties, 66 and 71 on his power. Perfect defense. And I'm not tired, messing it up or anything. No, he has perfect defense, incredible speed. You can get it all the way up to 98 if you superfractor the card. He's under 30K if you just buy him outright. But I will say this about Starling Marte, you can get him entirely free off of doing a mini season. And that will be about 24 games in total if you just play through it and then you quit out of the rest. Starling Marte is good. He's really, really good. I'm batting about 600 with him. I used him during some conquest stuff. So I haven't used him online yet. But Starling Marte is one of my favorite cards in the entire game. And he's just one of those guys that I like to throw in because it's fun to use him. But he's really good to go on top of that. Starling Marte is very solid. I highly recommend this card. I've been a Starling Marte card kind of guy ever since MLB 21. He got a finest card, and that was the best outfielder in the entire game. I would argue with anybody that he was better than 99 Griffey or 99 Trout. I didn't give a shit who you were going to bring up. I thought Starling Marte was better, other than Brandon Nimmo. And Nimmo had a really good swing that year. He still kind of does, but not to the power level of that one. But let's move on to the rest of the outfield. All right, moving into the best budget beast center fielders. Starting off, we got David Dahl. So David Dahl is somebody that I've only used offline, but I've used David Dahl's swing before, and I know how powerful it is. David Dahl is going to be one of the best power hitters you can use, even if he only has 88 power versus lefties. He's gonna be really, really good at the plate. The only issue that I have with him is I would stick him in a corner outfield spot Like if I'm building the ideal budget squad, I wouldn't be using David Dahl in center, but I would highly consider using him in one of the corner outfield spots. But he's still good enough to where I'm going to rank him with the center fielders because I'm doing a primary position video. Other than, of course, the first base and the DH, which the DH will be coming up soon. And I do have some pretty good picks for that as well. But David Dahl, he's really, really good. Like I said, no quirks. He's a very, very good card. I highly, highly, highly recommend David Dahl. Moving on though, we got a 99. It's a set 2 guy. I know I said I wasn't going to put in the set 2 guys, but I'm batting 400 with him. He's got good quirks. He's got dead red, first pitch hitter, situational hitter, max contact versus righties, 100 plus everything else except for his contact versus lefties. Makes the durability team. Incredible defense. His speed is good enough. It's not super, super fast in the center field spot, but he covers good enough ground. I really like Grady Sizemore. Use him while you still got the chance to use him. He's only 13,000 stubs in the market if you want to put it in an order. Grady Sizemore hits tanks in this game, I promise. He's very, very good. Moving on though, we've got a tie at first because it's a righty and it's a lefty. We got Michael Harris. He's got perfect contact, 100 plus clutch. His discipline is like the worst I've ever seen. I'm batting 375 with the card so far. He's got 95 speed, perfect defense, covers a ton of ground. He's got about every quirk when it comes to hitting. He's got fighter, unfazed, dead red, first pitch hitter. He's really, really good. He's got the middling tier of power, but it's fine when you've got a swing like Michael Harris. He's got one of the best swings in the game. I can promise you that 1000%. Moving on to the number 1 like tied spot with him, it's going to be the definition of a 5-tool player that doesn't have any quirks, unfortunately, but it's just going to be a right-handed, more power-oriented Michael Harris, in my opinion. That's Mike Cameron. He's got great contact, great clutch. His vision's really good. His discipline is way better than Michael Harris's. He's got great speed, great defense. He like a little bit bigger of an arm in center field, but Mike Cameron is really solid. They gave him a decent swing. It's not the most overpowering swing in the world, but I do like this Mike Cameron quite a bit. It's about 14,000 stubs if you didn't take him out of one of your XP reward packs. So I do really, really, really like this Mike Cameron. He's very, very solid. Moving on to right field. So we're going to try and just power through this back half of this video, get this thing done, push this thing out to you guys. I don't want to make it as long as yesterday's, but it's kind of looking like it might be. We got Nick Castellanos. He's going to be a tie spot here at third. And the reason that I have it as a tie is Castellanos is going to be a better defender than the guy I'm going to mention in just a second. But Nick Castellanos, I'm batting 600 with him online. One of the best swings in the game. Hitting wise is going to be one of the best outfielders you can use in general. He has a 99 that is better, but it's really not that big of a gap. If you're on a budget, 13,000 stubs buy now, 10,000 to put in an order. It's really good. You can see the stats on the screen. He's 100 plus on everything that is important when it comes to hitting. He's very, very good. I really like this Nick Castellanos, but this is somebody that I felt like I had to put forward above him. He's got dead red. It's going to be Mitch Haniger. So I'm batting 400 with him, but Mitch Haniger doesn't have the speed or the defense of Nick Castellanos. Not that Castellanos is that great of a defender, but it's 70 speed to 56. This is a card you want to parallel up. I think he's a better DH, but I have used Mitch Haniger enough to know that he does play a decent spot in the outfield. Overall, he's okay in the outfield, but what you want him there for is he's going to hit the shit out of the ball. That's what Mitch Haniger does. That's what he was meant to do, and he's real good at it. Moving on though, we got our number 2 spot. This is a guy you can get about 25,000 stubs. It's going to be Kyle Tucker. 107, 125, 101, 97, 112 vision, 125 clutch. Makes the durability team. Much like Mitch Haniger, he's just slow. That's my only issue with him. He's got some really good quirks. Unfazed, situational hitter. Kyle Tucker is very, very good. I really like this Tucker card. I'm batting about 700, but I've only used him for 3 ABs, so not the biggest sample size in the world. But Kyle Tucker, while he's still cheap, as well as we got the Diamond Duos pack sale going on right now, so he's going to be much cheaper than he usually would be. Go pick him up, go try him out, maybe even just put him at DH if you're worried about his defense. I've used him in the outfield. He doesn't play bad out there. A lot of competitive, like comp guys, will literally use Kyle Tucker in the outfield. It's because he just really isn't that bad in the outfield. Now at the number 1 spot when it comes to right field, that's going to be Booger. It's going to be Larry Walker. He's got about every hitting quirk in the game. I mean, breaking ball hitter, bad ball hitter, table setter, situational hitter, first pitch hitter. He's very good. Defensively, he's perfect. Don't get me wrong, I superfractor this card and I'm batting about 400 with him. But he's got 125, 120 as his righty stats, 118, 97 as his lefty stats, 125 clutch, and about 100 vision. Plus, it's a controversial thing to say, but he's got a top 3 lefty swing in the entire game. I think the best 3 lefties in the game are probably Schwarber, Griffey, and Larry Walker. I think those are the 3 best lefty swings in the game. I don't know what it is. Larry Walker always gets really good cards. All right, moving on to the DH position, we have an actual primary DH. Yes, I just said that. A primary DH is JD Martinez. If I'm doing a budget DH spot, I can't leave this card off because JD Martinez has one of the best swings in the entire game. And with the DH feature of just not having to use this shit stain in the outfield when it comes to defense, because I mean, look at his defensive numbers. With his speed, he's pretty fucking horrible. But when you're just using him to hit some baseballs, he's gonna hit the shit out of some baseballs. Now, there might be some better options that people will be like, I'd rather use this guy at DH or this guy at DH. Leave that in the comments down below. Let me know. Let me know who are you rocking at DH on your budget squad. But JD, he's got 100 plus everything pretty much hitting besides power versus lefties. Good enough clutch at 107. And it's just all about the swing here. It's just about that swing. He's got one of the best swings in the game. He's got one where as soon as the bat touches the ball, it's flying out of the stratosphere, almost guaranteed every single time. All right, so we're moving to the number 2 spot when it comes to the DH. I'm going to do little cuts so you don't have to watch me, drag all the way across the, entire thing. But he's got bad ball hitter, situational hitter, dead red, breaking ball hitter, fighter, first pitch hitter. Matt Holliday is really good. And the benefit of Matt Holliday is, yes, I included him at the DH spot. Also, he's 12,000 stubs, just so you know. He fits 3 position groups on this video. I just went ahead and threw him at DH because I couldn't really figure out guys to throw in at DH on a budget. But Matt Holliday is going to be one of the best. And he fits first base and the corner outfields. And he plays fine in the corner outfields. He plays a really solid first base. Matt Holliday has one of the best swings in the game. As you can see, I'm batting .510 with him, 23 home runs, 43 RBIs. He's good. I mean, he's just really good. The only reason I'm not using him is just because of getting tired of using the same old when it comes to cards. I swap up cards all the time. Almost every day, I throw somebody different into my lineup because I like using different guys. But he's got 125, 118 as his contact, 106, 114, 105 vision, 125 clutch. He's about a perfect hitting card, but he's not the number 1 because there is a perfect hitting card, and that's Kyle Schwarber. I bet 548 with this card. Is that good enough for you? I hope it is. He's got table setter as his only really important quirk. He's got 53 speed. I think he's the best DH in the game, besides maybe Juan Soto, but he is usable at catcher, first, and the outfield spots. It's just, if I'm using this card, I'm throwing him at DH personally. That's just where I think he fits. Platoon swap him at DH, lefty, righty. Although I hit pretty good lefty with him. As you can see, I'm batting .561 versus left-handed pitching with Kyle Schwarber. So I don't struggle to bat against lefties with him because his swing's that good. I mean, this card's just good. That's just all there is to it. Kyle Schwarber is very, I hate to say it again, he's fucking good. Max power versus both sides, 116 clutch, 114, 103 on his contacts, 100 plus vision, and he's under 30k stubs. Go pick him up. Find a spot for him. Find a spot for him. I don't give a shit if you're running a budget squad and you're watching this, you know, running just a budget squad. I don't give a shit if you're running a god squad. It doesn't matter what squad you're running. Kyle Schwarber he deserves a spot. All right, and when it comes to starting pitching, I'm going to give you a full budget rotation. So this is a guy that you're going to be able to grind out. Also, just going to say this, I did not include him as a DH because I think he, you know, should be used as a pitcher because of, you got to take advantage of the bug that's in the game right now. I mean, online, you have to take advantage of it, and you can't run him at DH to take advantage of that. So Shohei, he would be one of the top 2 DHs in the game. He might be better than Schwarber. It just depends. But as a pitcher, he's overall really good. Individual pitch control above me, individual pitch break above me as well. Just my only issue with him is he can't control, and that's why I have him at number 5 instead of like number 1, because off of pitch mix and speed differentials, he should be at number 1 because he's got outlier on his fastball, a slow slurve, a good splitter, a good cutter, and a good sinker. It's just, he's hard to control. I mean, he's just, sounds like beating a dead horse, but he's just hard to control. Moving on though, at the number 4 spot, we've got Brian Bello. No quirks, but individual pitch control above me, individual pitch break above me, really good break. He can dot a little bit, got an incredible pitch mix with a sinker, cutter, fastball, slider, and circle change. Good enough speed differentials, not the greatest, but good enough. That sinker comes in really, really hard. His per 9s are all serviceable, and he's a free card. You get him on the way to OHTANI, so you can have 2 of the best budget pitchers in the game off of grinding out the same thing, as well as 2 of my other budget hitters were also player of the month guys. So you get a lot of these budget and free options for just going for OHTANI, and it's a 2.5, 3 hour grind. You can field a whole team that's serviceable just doing that grind. Moving on though, we've got a card that you can flip-flop all these pitchers except for number 1. You can't flip-flop number 1 because of who it is. But we got Mike Soroka, no quirks as well, but great per 9s. And what is the deal with Soroka? Pitch mix and pitch control looks not as good as it actually is. Pitch break, it's not bad, as you can see above me. And then his per 9s, they're good enough. Soroka is just good. I don't know how to explain it. It's probably a little bit to do with the pitch mix. He's got an identical pitch mix to Brian Bello. It's just whatever the primary pitch is changes for him. He's an incredible guy you want to use on Hall of Fame to Legend, but Soroka, I could not leave him off the list because of how incredible he is. Moving into the number 2 spot, we've got Mark Mulder. Mark Mulder is under 30k stubs if you put in a buy order. Yeah, I know, 950 stubs below the mark, but you know what? Damn it, he hits the mark. Individual pitch control above me, individual pitch break also above me. Per 9s are about as good as you're going to get for a free card. Not a free card, a budget card. And he's not the easiest to read with great speed differentials. Mark Mulder will do you justice in this game. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you a million times over. But the number 1 spot, it wasn't going to be anybody else. It's going to be the man who has 2 forms of outlier. Outlier 1 and outlier 2. So he's got an outlier slider that comes in at 97 miles an hour. He's under 30,000 stubs. And on top of that, if you really want to get down to the nitty gritty, he's free. Plus, you can pull him out of the bullpen, and he's got infinite stamina and doesn't lose stamina when you pull him out. So you don't even need a bullpen when you run John Donaldson. He's just filthy. I mean, you can see the per 9s on the screen. I don't even have to talk about this card. Going over, individual pitch control, incredible. Individual pitch break is all incredible. Other than I would like more break on that fastball, but God, if he had more break on the fastball, he just wouldn't be hittable. I mean, just being honest, he just would not be hittable. He's already not hittable. Can you imagine him with Randy Johnson level break on the fastball? It wouldn't be okay. Let's finish this thing out with the bullpen though. All right, so we've made it to the bullpen, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this first and foremost for the bullpen. These are ranked, but like, just pick one. They're all good. Just don't beat too hard into the idea of these cards being ranked, because they're all almost identical power levels. It's just these bullpen cards, there's not enough separation for me to be like, hey, this is number 1. Hey, this is number 5. So I just threw them all on the list. You pick the ones you like, you go use them. But we've got Lou Trevino, individual pitch control above me, individual pitch break above me. Per nines, not great, but they are good enough. And Lou Trevino is just hard to read, man. I mean, he's got good speed differentials, and like I said, just hard to read. That's the name of the game with him. Coming in at the 4 spot, which I actually would probably have him at number 1. I'm throwing this all together because these guys, there's no separation. Individual pitch control above me, individual pitch break above me. Doesn't have the greatest break on his fastball, which does hurt, but per nines are all great. Pitching clutch is really good. He's going to be able to control, and he's got the best speed differentials in the entire game. He also has break outlier, so that's pretty cool. But being able to go from that sinker comes in at 96, 97, being able to go from 97 miles an hour to that curveball comes in a little bit slower than that, says 65 to 66 miles an hour. A 30 mile an hour speed differential. It's not okay. It's not okay. Like, it's not. He's absolutely filthy. Moving on though, we've got a 97. That's going to be Aaron Loop. He could be number 1. He could be number 5. It all just depends on your preference. Individual pitch control above me, individual pitch break above me. He is 19,000 stubs on the market if you put in a buy order. Really solid card. Max hits per 9, max clutch. His velocity is good enough. He's got great speed differentials, and he's a submariner. That's a huge thing with this list. Being a submariner helps. Moving into the next 2 guys, we got John Schreiber, who I kind of like a little bit more than Loop. He's also another team affinity guy. If I didn't mention it prior, Corbin and Trevino are both team affinity cards. If you're ever curious about how to obtain a card, click on it like I have right here, go over to locations, and then it'll tell you exactly where to obtain the card. But John Schreiber, submariner, good speed differentials, individual control is above me, individual break is above me. Per nines are all great. I mean, he's one of the best bullpen arms in the game no matter what. And then we got who I'm going to have as the best, but he could be 5th, he could be 1st. It's just all personal preference on these bullpen guys. It's not like the other positions where I'm really ranking them. Control is above me, and pitch break is above me as well. He's a sidearm submariner. Adam Ottavino is just absolutely beyond the point of fucking filthy, and I suggest you get him. It says that he's 31,000 stubs, but you can get him as an event rewind at 10 wins in an event. He's a set 2 guy. Like I said, I was going to try and limit these, which I feel like I did, but you can't be too greedy when you're working with a budget. Ottavino, he's good. Get a hold of an Adam Ottavino. You're going to love him. I promise. People can't hit this card. He's super good. If you made it all the way through this video, which, yeah, you're a soldier if you did. Comment, I don't know, I love your flannel or something. I don't know. Just comment something random. Let me know you made it all the way through the video if you did. Either way though, I appreciate you watching, and I appreciate the love that y'all have been showing on these videos. I'm going to say it in the outro because I don't want to just interrupt my engagement when it comes to the earlier portions of the video, but I cannot speak highly enough on how much I appreciate the love on these videos. Let me know some other stuff you guys want to see. I want this to be an interactive channel. We're going to have the football channel coming up in the next 2 weeks. That is going to be my second channel, although I am a football guy, so I'll be dedicating quite a bit of time to that. We might end the upload streak on the MLB channel, but I'm always going to be covering this game. This is my favorite game to play. Football is my favorite sport, so I'm going to find a balance between the 2 channels. Like I said, in a couple of videos, I do work from home, so I have plenty of time to sit around and make some content. So we're not going to have shortage of content on either channel. So we're definitely going to be getting things rolling on both channels. I will, whenever I set up the football channel, I will link it in the description, and I'd appreciate if you guys subscribe to that as well. If you have interest in it, it's just going to be a franchise oriented channel. My first two videos are going to be reveals for the Dynasty on NCAA and the franchise for Madden. I'm not going to put that on this channel because I want this to be a community like based channel where it is dedicated specifically to helping you guys with MLB The Show and or entertaining you guys on MLB The Show. Although I do feel like debuts and stuff like that are also helping you because it's like, do I want to use this card that's 180,000 stubs and I get it the first day it comes out? You have somebody essentially tutoring if that card is worth the price or not. So that's the whole point of a debut, in my opinion, when you're going to upload it. But long-winded outro. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate the love you've been showing. Like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of stuff. Help us fight the YouTube algorithm. We fought the YouTube algorithm hard yesterday. Up to 1,000 views in under 24 hours. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I mean, the love has just been too much, honestly. It's been too much. But I do appreciate it. And I'm out.